Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Summa Social Elite, hosted by yours truly, Donna Newman of Summa Social. As this new year begins, I'm sure most of you have developed your business goals and a few personal resolutions that you'd like to achieve. And me too. But to that theme, today's topic is 5 SMART New Year's resolutions for social media, from concept to action. Literally, you can implement these when you return to work. Statistically speaking, most New Year's resolutions actually last less than a few weeks. So as you attempt to overcome this average, I'm going to give you 5 SMART resolutions for 2013 so that we can help things run a little bit smoother. I've used SMART as an acronym so that it's going to be a great memory tool and easy for you to remember as well as to apply. And S stands for specific, so that you can drive specifically targeted traffic to help you create new customers. M stands for measurable. Social media marketing is no longer in the leprechaun and the unicorn categories, but you really have to understand what are you trying to achieve and how do you measure that you've actually achieved it. A stands for achievable, and this starts with a realistic plan. The R of SMART stands for relevant because social peer influence drives buying decisions more than any other influence in today's economy. And then finally, T stands for time bound because time management is a key attribute of social media success. You can't know how successful social media is if you have to spend scores of hours on it. And like typical business people, we have limited amount of time. So each week for the next 5 weeks, I'm going to dedicate this webinar to tips and specific examples, which you can actually do something with literally when you return to work. So today I'm featuring the S of SMART. And here, when I feature this, I'm going to give you 3 exact ways for how you can deliver specific content so your brand is found and it's purchased. When you provide specific keyword content on your website pages, you will help targeted prospects find the information they want, such as if you were a dentist, this would be clinical experience, practical achievements, breakthrough cases, services offered, glowing testimonials, educational videos, and working hours. And the same would be true if you are a small business owner, you're a speaker, you're an author, you really want to target the audience that's going to have the most end benefit of what your services are and being specific in what those services are. Or if you're a real estate agent and here you want to target the farms that you make the influence in, what are the buzzwords, the keywords that your consumer is using to put into the search box, whether it's Google, Yahoo, or YouTube, that could bring up your website. So here, we're going to look at 7 specific things. And these are exact things that you can actually implement the moment we finish our webinar. We're going to talk about headlines and subheadlines. These are so critical because this all goes back to the blink test. When people immediately come to your website, they want to know what you can do for them. And then specific tactics. And that has to do with what you first say and then how you follow it up. Relevant images and a welcome video. Critical for the power of the first impression because people are so visual. Value proposition and benefits. And as you all know, you can be talking for a long time, but I will never listen until I hear exactly how you're going to help me. Testimonials. Because more than you ever saying how amazing you are only amazing according to the people that you have influenced, and they've had an incredible outcome. So that's when you've got great testimonials. Written are good, but video is so much more powerful. And number 5 is blogging your expertise. Whenever we work with authors, it is part of the trade that whenever you start or you launch a brand new book, you must get out your first 100 blogs. And that seems like a daunting task, but it is something that You need to provide your own PR, and there's nothing better than being able to have a couple of paragraphs, about 400 words each blog, that showcases a problem and how you would identify the exact outcome and the benefit. And when you can actually host all of these problems and solutions in a blog on your website, you have got 100 pieces of affirmation out there that people can find to point back to your website, which then further validates that you know what you're talking about, but it also gives the benefits that if someone were to use you and hire you, that could be theirs. Call to action. This is pretty important because you not only want to tell them the benefits, but you want to tell them how to get those benefits. And then contact information. Too often people overlook having the exact contact information. That's a phone number. Sometimes it's direct to your cell. Sometimes that's to your office, website, email, Facebook, etc. So let's talk about something specific. This is one of our clients. This is an author. This was his website before we got our hands on it. And I want you to look at this for the integrity of, the integrity of what he had. And now we're going to look at specifically, it's coming back to my video here. Okay, we're going to look specifically at what those 7 bullets were. And we're going to see right here, Outperformers International at the number 1. That was his headline. The second, he had images and videos. Okay, so he had this image right here, this banner image, getting more with less, kind of a play off of his words. He had a demo video, and then he had some stock images. The demo video is pretty powerful because that shows him in action, but the other ones are just a little bit more too generic. The values and the benefits. So you can see over here in this yellow, there are 4 ways that I can help. That is powerful because then I want to investigate if one of my needs might be one of those 4 ways that he could benefit. Testimonials, not on the page. That's pretty important because that's the third-party validation that is so critical in today's economy. A blog, he does have that. He has it up here. He doesn't have any images with his blog, which is a challenge because people are so image-driven in today's economy. And second, it really minimizes his reach because you have image sites that are like Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook that are more image-driven, and he misses out on the opportunity to be able to take full accessibility of that with the old site, that is. Call to action, not anywhere on the site. And then finally, his contact information is right up here in the top right corner. But it's pretty drab, it's not very engaging, and it's certainly not giving me the powerful impression, except for the 4 ways that I can help, that I, as a user coming to a site, would want to hire him. So here's what we did. And these are the exact elements I want you to apply to your own website. First, let's talk about those headlines. So here in number 1, you've got Outperformers International, and he's put simple process, powerful results. Well, as a consumer, if I know that becoming an outperformer is going to be a simple process and yield me those powerful results, then that intrigues me. And he follows it up with his cover banner here, with this performance management, professional development. So now I know exactly what he does and how he can help me. He also mentions here, this is his book, but that's a very catchy title that again plays to the headline, which is also his value proposition, moving from activity to achievement. And then we look at images and videos. So in his image, this is actually a jQuery animation. It's not Flash, but it's a technology that operates a lot like Flash, so that on his mobile site, on any tablet or smartphone, it will actually be a nice dynamic template that will allow all of the images as you see them here on this desktop to compress and to be user-friendly. So that would be pretty important as he's wanting to reach an audience that's becoming more and more mobile accessing all of the websites. Values and benefits. Immediately when you come up, You see his headline, you follow by the banner in the center, and then right here, kind of a play off of that original site, 4 ways. But being a lot more specific than his original site, we then identified iconic images that were important to his end users. These are images that he gets a lot of feedback on when he's out and he's talking to C-level executives. And then we give some targeted keywords. So whenever you're describing your benefits, try not to be generalized because anybody's out there generalized, and generalized is not a searchable keyword. So whenever you're describing your 1 benefit, 2, 3, 4, etc., be specific. And when you are talking specific keywords, make sure that those keywords are not what you want to be known for necessarily, but are also a combination of what people are actually using when they find your site. So if you are getting a brand new hire, for example, I got hired a couple of weeks ago by an agent at UBS. And I asked them, how did they find me? And they said, well, we found you on Google. And they told me exactly the keywords, and they had never heard about me. They didn't even know anything about Summa Social. They simply went to my website based upon keywords inside of Google search and then hired me to do a couple of speaking engagements with them. So know how people are getting to your site. And here then, we put description in there that is specific to each of those 4 ways. Testimonials. Here we've gone ahead and we've put a scrolling, again, this functions a lot like Flash, but it's not Flash, it's jQuery animation. So here he's got headshots of all the people who have actually recommended him based upon hiring him, and they've given some specific outcomes. Not he's amazing, he's wonderful, he makes us all glow and feel good about ourselves, but specifically when I put his tactics into action, here was my outcome. And when people give you a headshot, it's so much more engaging when you can look in the whites of the eyes and see that there's a credible person behind that testimonial. And then let's look at number 5, his blog. He goes ahead, and we have blog up in the top navigation. But anytime that he has a new blog, it automatically, because of the RSS feed, alerts all the people who are on his email campaign. And it also, inside of this navigation, and since this is a static image, I can't show you, but inside there, you're going to see he's got everything categorized according to his 7 spheres of influence. He speaks on 7 different platforms, and specific to each of those keyword topics, he then writes blogs. So allow your blogs to be categorized so that when people have a problem with branding, they can go to his branding category and find 5 or 10 or 15 blogs that would be specific to them, not get lost. Call to action. Here you have an opportunity to utilize him immediately. So let's say you don't need him other than, wow, you're entranced by what he can do. If you at least want to kind of whet your appetite, down here you've got a free ebook and you have an opportunity to have his weekly performance tips. So you can opt in by giving him your email, quickly get the free ebook, which is the exact tactics, but in a more abbreviated form, what he talks about in his book and what he actually talks about from the platform, and then sign up now. So pretty direct. Contact information is up here on the top right-hand side. Always have that on your home page because people might not go past your home page to the contact page, which is up top there. So when you actually implement these tactics, you're going to start to see that your website can become an effective yellow page listing, as this very content will impact the search engine results. And that is a traditional search engine such as Yahoo, Google, and even YouTube. So then we look, so apart from building a website presence, we're going to look at videos. You can showcase your specific expertise by using videos. Each video can be casually produced from your smartphone, lasting 30 seconds or up to 2 minutes, and uploaded to YouTube, where you add specific keywords in your title, your description, and your tags. But this is something that most people overlook. They think if they're going to just load up their video, that people are going to find it. And unfortunately, guys, gals, that does not work that way. So let me just kind of bring you up to speed on 6 specific items that I want you to do that once you do to one video, you can literally model that exact same approach or copy and paste the exact same things that you've put in there. First thing is, whenever you title your video, you only want to have 68 characters. Now, you can have a little bit more than that, but the reason I say 68 is that when people are actually having your video listed on the front page of any search engine, only 68 characters of your title show, and then there's an ellipse, ... So if you want the most important content to be inside of that title, make sure that it's within the first 68 characters. And better yet, only let your titles be as long as 68 characters. That's a little bit of a challenge to do. And also make sure there are engaging keywords in there. Second, you want to add your website or your blog URL at the very front end of the description box. That's the very first thing they see. Because again, going back to that listing on the search engine, after they see your 68 character length of a title, they're first going to see that website URL or that blog URL. So immediately they see the power and the benefit of what they're going to get. And second, they know how to follow up and contact you. And then after that is about a sentence in length of your description. So this is important. Adding keywords in your description. Again, it's all about what do you want to be known for and how do you want to be found, or do you want to be found? It's really probably the more important question to answer. And that is, you want to make sure that you have the keywords, maybe if you're a realtor, maybe it's active adult community in northeastern Arizona. Whatever that keyword or that short tail phrase is, make sure that you're populating it a couple of times. Obviously, allow it to make grammatical sense, but make sure that you populate that inside your description, because every search engine, including YouTube, will scrub your description, and based upon the frequency and the words themselves will bring your result up higher in the search results. 4, contact email or phone. This is where, again, I not only want you to showcase the value of what you have for your expertise, here's your contact information for the blog URL, but I want them to be able to pick up the phone and call you or send you a quick email. So don't overlook adding that to your description. And then inside there, because people really want social proof, and that's to your credit if you've got an active or engaging Facebook following, Twitter, Pinterest, etc. Make sure that you put your URLs in there and say something to the effect of like me on Facebook, and then put your URL. Follow me on Twitter, URL. Join us on Pinterest, URL. Finally, adding tags that users would search for. And this is that final entry when you're looking at loading up a video. You want to use tags that people are using to find either your general category or to find you specifically. So that would be, if you are a realtor, that might be the name of the community as well as your company name, but really it's the name of the community. That might even be the address. That might be 2-bedroom, 3-bath. If you're an author, putting on the specific specialties that you actually are an expert in. And if you're a dentist, that is putting in the city, the community, maybe it's teeth whitening, etc. So think about, what do you specialize in, and kind of do a little test. Go inside of Google yourself and put those exact keywords in there and see if you come up. If you don't come up, that's nothing to be alarmed about, because perhaps you haven't filled in your website properly with the keywords, and perhaps you haven't filled in your videos. So know what is coming up for the keywords or the tags that you are actually putting on your website and also inside of your videos. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to give you a complete navigation of then how to SEO your videos. So if you come in here, you're going to see that the 68 characters in title, this is specific to one of my webinars. Here I identified it as Pinterest for Business, how to succeed on this social media platform. So Pinterest is a keyword. Pinterest for Business is pretty popular. because people are kind of quizzical is, can you really use Pinterest for business? You bet you can. And then how to is a pretty important catchphrase. People want to know how to, and how to videos are really hands-on, and they spell out exactly how to achieve the end goal of making Pinterest for business. And then you go to number 2. So here you can see on number 2 that I've put my website, http://www.summasocial.com. So that right after the title is exactly what they see. And this is what you want to do too, followed by keywords in my body text. Now, I do put quite a bit in there. I know that the search result is only going to show the first full line. However, beyond that, I want to populate more keywords in there, and I want to showcase the benefits. So I tell people, now here's what you're going to learn in this video if you watch it. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Here are your takeaways, implement them, and this too could be your results. So this way, if people are looking at the content, which serves for me being pulled up higher in the search ranks and for me being on the first page of Google in the first place, but it also gives people who are more text friendly the opportunity to know exactly what they're going to receive should they watch the video and spend the time. 4, I've got my contact information at the bottom, as you can see. For more information on how Summa Social can help you market your business, I've got my website, I've got the phone number, and oftentimes I put the social media URLs. Now, I don't do that inside of my webinars, but I would definitely encourage you to do that. That gives you more brand exposure and more incoming targeted traffic. Search tags. You can't see that on this because this is what the front end sees. This is the kind of the civilian view. But search tags would be on the inside when you're first loading up, and it's the last thing that you add. So that when the clients or prospects search in any search engine, whether it's Google or it's YouTube, for your general topic or your keywords, your specific videos can be featured on the drop-down menu of all of those options. Then number 3, in addition to an effective website and a video presence, Pinterest can help you generate targeted traffic. If you're new to Pinterest, I've got a quick walkthrough video of all the relevant setup you'll need. And that video is listed on our YouTube channel. It's the one that I just featured. Pinterest allows your business to post images and videos, and every image or video is hyperlinked to a specific page on your website, thus driving you more traffic and helping you create new customers. And here are 3 specific ways that Pinterest can help your brand. And again, this is all about you leaving this webinar and being able to enact these. First, categorize your products and services into specific pin boards. This is where you want to be able to have keywords on the title and then great visuals. And everything that you are going to put inside of those boards, known as pins, are going to be images or videos, and those link back to your website. So, of course, guys, having engaging, interesting content boosts your traffic and gets people there. So whenever you're loading up images and hosting them from your website, make sure first that you've got great quality. Second, if it is a stock image, make sure that it's engaging. Do you like it, or did you just put something up to put something up? Make sure that your videos, they don't have to be professionally done. I know a lot of my clients who just make them casual, but more importantly, they're real and people get to see the presence of what it would be like working with you. So make them engaging and make them fun. And then number 3, this is where you really want to take advantage of monitoring who is repinning your content and what are they repinning, so that you can really understand their interests and their behaviors of this audience. And that way it gives you leverage to follow up. You literally can follow up and send the people who repinned your content an opportunity to maybe email. There might be, based upon you clicking on their name, you can get their contact information. And however or whatever contact they repinned would allow you to break the ice when either you're making a phone call, sending an email, or following up with some inbox Pinterest email. And here is specific to what those 3 leads were. So number 1 is posting specific boards. So this is a realtor buying a home. Well, that meets my need as a home buyer, or are you selling a home? So this particular site is identifying the exact need of someone who's coming into Pinterest. And buying a home is a typical search-friendly word. Selling a home. And then beyond that, you can see those images. They're pretty engaging. At minimum, we love to look at pretty homes. We love to look at great images. So how well do your homes showcase? And again, these are images that are coming from your website. And then also, there is a specific board for this particular client that is real estate blogs. And that is a blog, all the blog topics coming from the website. So the bulletin board is labeled real estate blogs. And then the pins inside of that board, kind of like scrapbooking, is going to be taking a picture or taking a video that will be hyperlinked back to a specific blog about a specific topic. And then looking at relevant images and videos. So attracting new content. You can see that from the top, you've got a great full view image of buying a home. Then you've got some images under the buying the home, which is the title of the board. You see all the pins of the photographs. And then also, anybody who has either repinned the content can also add a comment, which is great, interesting, or whatever they want to say. They can actually say that, which then, again, just like Facebook, allows their comment to be going through the news feed, and all of their connections on Pinterest can come back and either follow your board or follow up with you. Monitor who's repinning. So one of the ways that's easy to do that is obviously you get notified via traditional email that somebody repinned your content, but then you'll also be able to see that once you've logged into Pinterest, and you can see by virtue of what they've commented on, or you can see inside of your admin how many people and exactly who repinned your content. And then a final thing about Pinterest is that when you log in, you can either log in with your traditional email or you can log in as Facebook or log in as Twitter. And I'd really encourage you to log in with your Facebook, because anytime you repin content, it not only is notifying everybody within Pinterest, but it's also tagging back to your Facebook account and letting all of your Facebook friends know that you were repinning a certain content. So it pushes out content beyond a bigger sphere of influence. So here is when kind of recapping that Pinterest, rather don't be distracted on what to pin and how to pin, but rather keep the spotlight on the specific benefits of your products and services. And that's really what consumers want the most. So guys, as you're knee deep in January, don't let social media marketing become a good intention. And how you're going to keep it specific is to make sure that you review your website and add specific keywords. And second, you're going to look at those videos and determine which videos that you have live or that you can create would reveal your specific expertise. Of course, once you've loaded it, you're not anything specific until you add your keywords to your title, your descriptions, the tags, the URL, etc. So follow those examples to a T. And then finally, look at Pinterest. Now, some of you might think Pinterest is a complete waste of time, but you definitely want to go up there and secure your URL. And Pinterest can generate you a specific targeted traffic, especially for people under the age of 50. This is a great place where, again, images sell, and it helps generate you specific targeted traffic. So as you approach this next week, make your marketing goals specific so that your staff knows exactly what activities they need to do to reach those goals. And then hopefully the outcome of editing your website, SEOing your videos, and pinning relevant images will remind you that social media technology exists to make your life and your employees' lives easier, much easier. So now it's your turn, and I see lots of people on here, and I'm just going to open up the lines. First of all, if there's any questions, go ahead and on this webinar, you can either fill it in the question box or you can fill it in the chat box. And then I'll also go ahead and open up the line so that several of you could actually just join us for any questions. Hello, everybody. Oh, that's not a good answer. Remember, it's all about one step at a time. So don't try to do everything. Just be specific.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Is someone answering?
Showing you someone's website is doing it better than you, and you're like,
oh.
Yeah.
Well, there's comfort and misery, I guess. But again, guys, just go back. Literally, I give you those bullet points because those are the backbone for something that's successful.
Those guys are sharing rooms, or
okay, what was your question? Everybody's live, so if you have any sideline conversations, we can hear everything.
Okay. Let me check with him, and I'll ring you back. Okay, sweetie. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. So if nobody has any questions, then I'll just go ahead and mute you. But kind of going back to, if you think of any questions later, and not to be overwhelmed. I caught one of those clients on the phone, and I think that I know who said that. But if you think of any questions later, feel free to type those questions into Summa Social in the search box, and then just kind of give me a heads up, and I'll be happy to follow up with you. But remember, you can actually do something with these exact 3 tactics, literally when you get off this webinar and return to work. And that's what the whole goal of these next 5 weeks is, to be able to give you specific tactics so that you can be successful. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon.